Hey guys, how you going? I hope you're all doing really well and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about just how to get started on your weight loss or your fitness journey. For those of you who haven't been here before, my name's Lucy and several years ago I lost 30 kilos. Prior to that, I spent years not taking the first step or not starting anything because I was over-analysing everything and I felt like I would be taking the wrong step or I just didn't know what to do. So in this video, we're going to clear out all the noise and we're going to simplify it and we're going to work out exactly how you should get started. Okay, number one, and I'm sure you would have heard this before, but it is really important, is to set your goals. So you should have an overarching goal, so one big main goal that you're working towards. So that might be to lose a certain amount of weight, it might be to be able to do a certain exercise, so like for example a push-up or a pull-up, or it might be a little bit more general than that. Now these smaller goals might be building up to work towards that big one, but they also might be individual on their own. So there just might be small little wins like being able to run 1 kilometer or being able to plank for 1 minute or losing a certain amount of weight or a certain measurement, for example. So it's all well and good having those goals, but what we really want to understand is why we have those goals. And you should be digging deep here into the reason behind them. So write them down on a piece of paper and start to jot out the real reasons behind those specific goals. Make sure that those reasons are valid to you and they're not because of other people, and really focus on the benefits that you could get out of achieving those goals. Really focus on exploring the points that you've written down and really think about expanding on those points. I really think you should dedicate a whole evening to writing your goals down and really understanding why you have those goals and what your life will be like if you achieve them. The reason why is super important to keep you committed to whatever goal you want to achieve. There's going to be days when your motivation is low because motivation is not around all the time, and when you can revisit your reasons why and really think about it and also use that in conjunction with a few other tools, then it will help you to stay on track when you're trying to get through those tougher days. Now I know, because I've been through this, that you would have heard this a million times, write your goals down, that's your good starting point, but it's just one evening sitting on the sofa, jot your goals down, really explore the reasons why, put them away. You don't need to look at them every single day, but just have them there and just start off on the right foot. I did this and never ever looked at them again, but I'm glad I wrote them down and I had that overarching goal and the smaller goals. And even though I didn't really revisit them, and to be honest with you, they changed along the way anyway, I was glad I wrote them down because it just felt like that was the start and that was the first step. Okay, point number 2 is to literally just take the first step and get the ball rolling. A lot of people will say go and buy exercise gear to motivate you, go and buy workout plans, really plan out everything super in detail. But honestly, that is just procrastination at its finest. And trust me, I'm a procrastinator, so I know. So I'm going to use fat loss as an example because I know a lot of people are here for fat loss, but if you want to lose fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. There's a couple of ways that you can achieve a calorie deficit, and if you're not sure what a calorie deficit is, I will pop something on the bottom of the screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. So very quickly, you can either consume less calories than your body is burning, and that means you'll be in a deficit here, or you can exercise burning calories, creating a deficit as well. You can do either of these, or usually people do both, so they'll exercise more and they'll eat less. The easiest way really to do it is just to eat in a calorie deficit, so eating less calories than your body is burning. The key point here though is consistency, so you need to be doing this consistently enough over a longer period of time. So that being said, to get the ball rolling, you can move more, you could eat less, or you could do both of them. It's completely up to you. Depending on the type of person you are, you might exercise more, eat less, do everything at once and start doing that consistently from the get-go. Or you might be the sort of person that just wants to take baby steps, changing one thing at a time so it feels a little bit more attainable. And that is completely fine. You need to do what's going to work for you. The key thing here is there is no right or wrong. It doesn't matter. There honestly is absolutely no right or wrong when it comes to this. If you're following those basic principles, it will work if you do it consistently over time. So in terms of exercise, do something that you enjoy. That's going to be the best form of exercise for you. It doesn't matter if it's HIIT, if it's cardio, if it's weights, if it's calisthenics, if it's rollerblading, skateboarding, rock climbing, it honestly doesn't matter. You don't have to follow a specific plan. You can if you want to. There's plenty of free resources online and videos on YouTube and all that sort of stuff. You can mix it up, try loads of different things. It's completely up to you and there's no right or wrong. In terms of eating in a calorie deficit, again, you need to find what works for you, and it might take a couple of weeks. You'll hear loads of terms thrown out: intermittent fasting, vegan, plant-based, paleo, the list goes on. But all that matters in the end is that you're consuming less calories than your body is burning. And so you might find that you feel really good on a ketogenic or paleo diet. You might feel like intermittent fasting works really well for your lifestyle, or you might just want to reduce your portion sizes and reduce your snacks, which is what I did. I'll put it in here. You do not have to follow a certain diet. You do not have to cut any food groups out, and you do not need to starve yourself. Just do little steps and do it consistently and it will work. So I know a question a lot of you guys probably have right now is, how do you know how many calories your body burns per day? Now that is something called your total daily energy expenditure, and that is made up of 4 different factors. I'm not going to go into them too much in this video. I have spoken about them in another video, but I'll pop some information down below if you want to have a look. I just don't want to confuse you with loads of jargon and just like throwing stuff out when I'm saying it should be simple. Ultimately, to find out your TDEE, you could use some of the calculators online. So you can head over to those calculators. They're never going to give you an accurate number. They will give you a ballpark number that you can work from. So to start with, that's perfectly adequate if you'd like to know how many calories your body is burning per day. If you want to go down the track of really tracking your calories and paying attention to exactly how much energy you're putting in your body to create that deficit, then you can use your TDEE to calculate how much of a deficit or how many calories you should be consuming. So as a complete example, let's say your TDEE comes out at 2,000 calories per day. We would be looking at a 10 to 15% deficit in those calories. So around 1,700 to 1,800 calories would lead to a nice, healthy, safe and sustainable weight loss. That being said, tracking is definitely not for everybody, and it can lead to negative mindsets around foods or just negative relationships with foods. So if that's the case and you really don't want to track, I personally have never tracked and don't really have any interest in doing so, you can just simply start to reduce what you're already consuming. You can cut out things that are additional calories that you don't need, for example, sugar in your coffee, certain sauces or dressings you might be putting on. You can switch out for healthier or slightly lower calorie options, or you can physically just reduce the amount you're eating and still eat exactly the same foods. The same goes for exercise. If you just increase how much you're moving from what you were doing already, then you will see that you're burning more calories. So you don't have to worry about tracking how many calories you've burned in a certain gym session or worrying that you need to burn a certain amount of calories per day. Really, the exercise portion, in my opinion, should be the fun part and the stress reliever and the motivational part of the journey. Remember, nothing is set in stone, and this is very much a learning process, and you will learn along the way. It's just like anything, it will change all the time. You will find different things that work for you, but the principles are always going to be the same. So just enjoy the process, try different things, and just find a lifestyle that works for you and that you can sustain for a longer period of time. I can't stress it enough, this is not a temporary change that you're making. This needs to be a lifelong, healthy, sustainable change. Once you take all the stress away of thinking everything has to be perfect, it becomes a lot easier. I wrote a post about this on Instagram. I will put it up here somewhere and you can have a look at it. But you need to let go of the idea of perfection. There is no perfect way of doing this. It's going to be different for everyone. You're going to make mistakes. So just get the ball rolling. Put one foot in front of the other. Start working it out as you go. It's a learning process. It's going to change. I know it's a very hard mindset to break, but just try to remember that there is no right or wrong. Take the first step, get the ball rolling, and learn along the way. Okay, so you've got the ball rolling. Something that you really need to do is to take your initial measurements and your progress markers. And I'm not just talking about weight here, because I know we automatically assume that weight is the key indicator. And obviously if you're looking for weight loss or fat loss, then weight on the scale is traditionally what we think is going to be the main key indicator of that. However, as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of that being the main marker. I don't weigh myself. I did when I was losing weight, but now I just don't, because I feel like I have a negative mindset and it fluctuates so much anyway. So other methods you can use are progress photos. Fantastic way of measuring your progress, and that's particularly what I like to use. It doesn't just show changes in your size, but also changes in your appearance, the way you sort of hold yourself, your mood, it even changes in your posture, that sort of stuff. So really, really important things that you probably wouldn't pick up on naturally yourself. Secondly, physical measurements. Just get yourself a measuring tape, take several measurements, waist, hips, chest, arms, thigh. That's all you need to do. Then put it away, take it in another month or so. Quite often the weight might stay the same on the scales, or it might even increase, but you might have lost centimeters or even inches in your measurements. So it's always fantastic to have that on hand. Go through your wardrobe, see the clothes that fit you, see the clothes that are a little bit tight. Another amazing way of seeing whether you've made any progress. And maybe even something like a journal and writing down how you feel. So it could be physically how you feel, your mood, your energy levels, that sort of thing, because those things are going to fluctuate throughout. I mean, obviously it's going to fluctuate every single day throughout your life, but you may notice a positive effect on things like how you're sleeping, or generally how you feel about yourself, or how much energy you have throughout the day. So maybe that might be a good option as well for you. I know I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, but if you are scared to take progress photos and you feel like you just don't want to do it, I would urge you to do so if you're looking to lose fat. The reason being is because I was told to do that and I was definitely not going to do that. I was horrified at the thought of seeing myself, so I didn't do it until week 6, and I really wish I had, because when I started doing that I noticed lots of little changes. And not only that, but looking back now, I would really have appreciated having photos from when I actually started rather than like halfway through the main bulk of my weight loss. You don't have to look at them, just take them, put them away in a file, and honestly, one day you'll be grateful you did. Point number 4 is not to overthink it. What I'm talking about here though is overthinking the future, overthinking the day-to-day. Try to think about this, like I said, as a lifestyle rather than a short-term change, and accept that it will take time to see progress and that you should really be enjoying what you're doing. I can't stress enough how much consistency is key. Consistency really is the most important thing. So just accepting that what you're doing is right and just keep going with it. Don't give up after a week or 2 weeks or even 4 weeks or 6 weeks because you've not seen exactly what you expected. Sometimes our expectations are a little bit high, we're quite harsh on ourselves, so try to be realistic and just focus on enjoying what you're doing rather than the end goal. But even more so, stop comparing yourself. This is something that I see all the time, and don't get me wrong, I did it, I probably still do it, but I catch myself sometimes and I stop it. A key example of this can be, unfortunately, social media. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all those sort of things. We start to invest a lot of time looking at other people that are in a similar position to us or have been, and we follow their journeys, or we track what they're doing and follow what they're doing. And sometimes it can be really motivational, but sometimes over a period of time that motivation starts to become comparison, and we don't realize we're doing it. It's quite subconscious, but we're comparing ourselves to somebody else. Now obviously that's not a great idea in many ways. For example, I often get messages saying, oh, I don't think I'll ever achieve a level of like a pull-up, for example, or a push-up, because I see that so many other people can do it, and it's taking me 4 months and I still can't even do one. I mean, it took me the best part of 8-9 months to be able to do one, and even then it was pretty rubbish. But you could look on my Instagram and you could see within 15-second reel that my progress from my progress in my pull-ups. 15 seconds, it's 8 months, 9 months condensed into 15 seconds. That comparison can also come from people in your life, friends, acquaintances, people that you see at the gym as well. And it's really important to remember, again, why you're doing it and to focus on yourself and your own journey and doing what works for you. So if you notice that you have negative feelings after consuming someone's content or spending time with a certain person, it's best to try and reduce the amount of exposure you have to that. So that might mean unfollowing people on Instagram. And I know you would have heard this a million times, but honestly, if you catch yourself doing this or feeling a certain way, it feels so good to do this. So unfollow people that you feel negative when you walk away from consuming their content. That could be someone else, that could even be me, and that's totally fine. I would much rather you feel happy and content than have my content in your face all the time. If it's people around you, try to minimize your exposure as well. Doesn't mean you have to stop talking to people or ignore them, but just maybe edit when you do and don't see them and really give a bit more time to yourself. Okay, last point number 5 is just to be consistent, to keep going, to stop overthinking it and just keep moving forwards. Trust the process, trust what you're doing, stop overthinking every little thing that happens. Stop looking for progress straight away or expecting changes to happen immediately, because it won't happen. Stop expecting to be motivated every day, because it's not going to happen either, and just really try and enjoy it. Educate yourself around principles of nutrition and exercise. Continue learning. This is a fantastic way of staying committed, because once you understand how something works, it becomes a whole lot easier, and you trust the process a lot more as well. And that's the same with anything in life. It's not just weight loss or a fitness journey, for example. Maybe talk to some other people who are in a similar position to you. That could be online forums, it could be a group in your sort of community, it could be your friends and family. Just find out something that works for you and just stay consistent. Okay, so that is what I've got for you. I really hope it's helped. I know that a lot of them you would have heard before, but I feel like it's a slightly different take on the traditional set your goals, buy your equipment, have a plan, all that sort of stuff. You don't need a plan. You don't need to have everything perfect and ready to go. It's all about taking that first step. So stop procrastinating, stop analyzing and trying to wait for the perfect time. Take that first step and learn along the way and enjoy the process as much as you can, and it will be a whole lot easier, and at least you'll be working towards it. If you've got any questions, guys, drop them down below. Head over to Instagram and chat to me over there. I love chatting to you guys. I have got a video coming up about answering or clearing up common misconceptions in fitness. I asked you guys on my Instagram stories today, and I've been getting some really good questions, so hopefully that will clear up any questions that you have. Otherwise, I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.